Well, how about them Celtics, huh? Hey guys, what's going on? It's the Basketball Hut here. So today we're gonna be talking about the Celtics and how they are pretty bad this season. I mean, there's not a good word to describe this team other than pretty bad. They're not contenders, but they're not like a lottery team either. They're just an okay team. I believe they're like the sixth seed right now, so they're probably not going to be making much noise in the playoffs. I mean, if they're lucky, they make it to the second round, but that's it I have for this team. I just want to go over like the two major flaws I found within this Boston team. I mean, and these are two flaws that you absolutely need in order to be contenders. And the Celtics have just they've had opportunities and, they just haven't been able to make moves. Danny Ainge, or as I like to call him, Sleepy Ainge, has botched the Celtics' playoff chances this year. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. Right, the first flaw with the Celtics is the fact that they don't have a playmaker. Now, let me tell you a secret about today's NBA. If you're going to compete for a title, then you need to have an elite playmaker. You need to have a player that's going to go out there and get you 7 to 10 assists a night. And that is not the case with the Celtics. Their guy who's leading them in assists per game is Marcus Smart, who's averaging 5.5 assists. And Kemba Walker is only averaging 5 assists. Now, let's take a look at some of the other contenders. With the Lakers, you have LeBron. The Nets, you have James Harden. The Phoenix Suns, you have Chris Paul. The 76ers, you have Ben Simmons. The Clippers, you have Rondo. The Jazz have Mike Conley. And the Bucks have Giannis. Maybe you can include Drew Holiday in there, but whatever. My point is that all these guys have an elite playmaker, and that's why they're contenders. The Celtics do not have this, and therefore they are not contenders. And let me just make one thing clear. Just because you have a good point guard doesn't mean that you have an elite playmaker. I understand that a point guard's main responsibility is to, well, create the plays, uh, dish out the most assists, but that's not Kemba Walker. Kemba's more of a scorer, if not a playmaker. He's a guy that can go out there and get you a bucket, which is fine if only his scoring wasn't so dog water. How could have the Celtics fixed this problem? They should have gone after a playmaker at the trade deadline. Lonzo Ball was probably one of the biggest names of the NBA trade deadline, and he would fit perfectly with the Celtics. I mean, not only is this guy an elite playmaker, but he's also a good perimeter defender, and his three-point shooting has improved drastically. In fact, he would be a better fit with the Celtics than Kemba is. Because Kemba, yeah, he can score the ball, but you already have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to do that. So if you get a guy like Lonzo who doesn't need to score a lot of points and who could just focus on spoon feeding those two guys the ball, then that's perfect then. You don't need another 20 point per game scorer in Kemba. You just need a guy who's going to create easier shots for the other two guys, in Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Or if they didn't want to go after Lonzo Ball, if they didn't want to pay a whole lot, they could have gone after a guy like Rondo. He was cheap. They probably only had to give up a second round pick to get him. And he would have had probably the same effect as getting Lonzo. Because Rondo's still an elite playmaker, and not only that, but he's a guy that has been known to turn up in the playoffs. So I just don't understand why the Celtics didn't do this. Instead, they went after Evan Fournier, who doesn't help them at all. He's not good defensively, and he's not a good playmaker. And the only thing he's good at really is scoring the ball. And he hasn't done that at all since his time with the Celtics. So, in summary, the Celtics could have fixed this problem, but they chose not to. And I understand them not wanting to trade a whole lot of their assets for Lonzo, but again, they could have gone after Rondo, who would have had the same effect. So, in summary, I don't think they wanted to have a playmaker. They didn't want to improve their team. Because if they had, then they would have gone after a guy like Rondo. They would have sensed that, hey, maybe our two elite scorers in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown need a guy to give them the ball, and Rondo's available. But nah, we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna get Evan Fournier. Yeah, he'll be a better fit than Rondo. Oh, look, he can score the ball too. That's so impressive. Like, we need another one of those. We need more guys who can score the ball. We don't need people who can pass. We just need guys who can put up like 20 a game. That's how you win championships, right? Moving on to the second biggest flaw is their rim protection. And this is imperative. If you want to win a title or have a good shot at winning it, you're going to need to have at least a decent center who can block shots. Doesn't have to be a superstar, but just someone who can create some sort of presence in the paint. And the Celtics do not have that. Their best center is Tristan Thompson. Tristan Thompson, the same guy who got out-rebounded by Steph Curry in the finals. Yep, the starting center on a championship team getting out-rebounded by a point guard. That's who's starting for y'all at the center position. Now, there's another big man that the Celtics have, Robert Williams, and he's been pretty good. He's a guy who's averaging nearly 2 blocks a game, and I'm pretty sure the Celtics think that he's going to take over that rim protection role. But honestly, the Celtics could have solved this problem way back in the offseason, before the season even began. If y'all recall, there was a bit of a trade rumor between the Pacers and the Celtics, and the Pacers were willing to give up Miles Turner and Doug McDermott for Gordon Hayward and some other assets. And this was perfect for the Celtics. Miles Turner is a great rim protector. I believe he's leading the league in blocks per game. And not only that, but he's a good three-point shooter, which is perfect for the Celtics because, Tristan Thompson nor Robert Williams can shoot the ball, and Miles Turner can. So not only do you have a guy that can put up 2 to 3 blocks a game, but you also have someone who's going to help space the floor and it's not going to be a liability during the playoffs. You could have had that. And also you could have had Doug McDermott off the bench who's an elite three-point shooter. So what exactly went wrong? Well, Sleepy Ainge, he got greedy and he wanted TJ Warren or Victor Oladipo to be included. And that was a deal breaker. Now, I just want to say one thing. Why the hell do you need Victor Oladipo or TJ Warren? I swear, it's like the Celtics' only concern is getting scores. Like, you realize you need to have other things, right? Like, I don't even, while we're on the subject, can I just say who in the hell the Celtics were going to give up for TJ Warren or Victor Oladipo? Like, they weren't trading away Tatum or Brown, and definitely not Kemba. Maybe Marcus Smart, I guess? But I don't know. Like, who the hell were they gonna give up for those two guys? No one. So they shouldn't have even asked for either TJ Warren or Oladipo. They should have shut up and take the trade. Because, again, you don't need more scoring on this team. You already got plenty of that in Tatum and Brown. Oh yeah, and you also added Kemba Walker, so that's 3 elite scorers you have on your team. You don't need Warren or Oladipo. You need guys who can get them the ball and allow them to score efficiently. That's why you need a playmaker, and also you need guys who can play defense on the inside because there's very little size on this team. Getting a guy like Miles Turner helps with that. Oh yeah, and also he can space the floor, which is something that you guys don't have with a big man. So I don't understand what was Ainge thinking. So in summary of these two flaws, this all could have been avoided if Sleepy Ainge wasn't sleeping. If he actually woke up and realized that, hey, maybe a team doesn't need 20 different scores and actually needs guys who can do other stuff, then maybe this all could have been avoided and the Celtics would still be in contention for a championship. It's not even the big issue, I think. Because for the past 5 or so seasons, the Celtics have always been pretty good, but never good enough to make the finals. I mean, let's take a look at in 2017, where they lost to the Cavs. And this was when they had like Isaiah Thomas and Jay Crowder and Al Horford and Avery Bradley, all them boys. And they lost to the Cavs, who had LeBron James, Kyrie, and Kevin Love. So, okay, I won't blame that on you. It's LeBron. What are you gonna do about it, you know? So let's go to 2018. In 2018, they replaced Isaiah Thomas with Kyrie Irving. They made the playoffs again. Kyrie got injured, so he didn't play, and the Celtics made it to the conference finals again, where they lost to LeBron, who had literally nothing. It was just LeBron and a bunch of guys and a washed up Kevin Love versus the Celtics team that was pretty darn good. And they still managed to lose in seven. Oh God, all right. You know, maybe next season, right? And next season they made the playoffs. Kyrie's healthy. They made it to the second round where they went up against Milwaukee. They even won the first game and took a 1-0 lead. And some people even said that the series was over after just one game. And then, well, they kind of just lost the next four, and this eventually led to Kyrie leaving and the Celtics in shame. So what about the season after that? Well, they made it again to the conference finals. Good on them. And they lost in six to the Heat, a team that they were heavily favored to beat, and they lost in six. You see the pattern developing, right? And now, to the present day, they now have a subpar record, and they're probably not even going to make it out of the first round, most likely. So now I don't really know what's going to be the next step for the Boston Celtics. I mean, obviously you want to keep building around Tatum and Brown, but you just gotta make some big moves. Take some risk, bro. Like, other than the Kyrie trade, there has not been a single big time move the Celtics made in the past 5 seasons that have really, like, put the Celtics over the top. There hasn't been. Because Danny Ainge is so concerned with playing it safe that he ends up hurting his team instead of helping them. But anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for this video right here. My rant about the Boston Celtics. As for what they might do, I don't really know. I think trading away Kemba Walker could be the first move. Uh, Getting a guy who can pass the ball would be really helpful. Also, getting a center who can protect the rim would be nice. Although I think they're gonna let Robert Williams start next season, but overall, just a very, very disappointing season from the Celtics as a whole. And I hope next season they come back stronger than ever. I mean, who knows what they're going to do in the playoffs? I don't know. They might get lucky and just make it to the second round and maybe even shock some people and make it to the conference finals. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Celtics are going to be in the first round, get bounced out, and they're going to have to start the off season on a really high note in order to get people to believe in them again. Because, yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be considering Boston a serious contender unless Sleepy Ainge actually makes some moves. So, anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're trying to grow the channel by the minute. But anyways, I'll see you on the next vid. Have a great rest of your day.